Hi, my name is Roman Timoshenko. I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I lived there for 10 years of my life until I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was 10. And today I'm going to share with you a presentation on the Russian New Year's. This is a Russian calendar representing the 12 months of the year, starting with January at the top and ending in December at the bottom right. And in the United States, we know that December 25th is associated with celebrating Christmas, when kids wake up and go to the Christmas tree to open their presents from Santa Claus. However, this is not the case in Russia. In fact, Christmas on the 25th of December is not as big of a celebration in Russia as it is in the United States. Christmas has a bigger celebration on January the 7th in Russia, because the Russian Orthodox Church still follows the Julian calendar as compared to much rest of the world, which follows the Gregorian calendar. Many Russians also celebrate Stary Novy God, which translates into Old New Year's, which is celebrated on January the 14th. So Russians can celebrate up to 2 Christmases and New Year's during the year. This picture represents the Russian Revolution in 1917 when the communists took power in Russia. And they are the primary reason why Christmas is not as big of a holiday as New Year's is. Because when the communists took power, they banned all religious expression, and this included celebrating religious holidays such as Christmas. Many people, of course, wanted to keep celebrating Christmas, so to get around this, people reinvented the New Year's tradition to be more like the Christmas tradition. And to this day, New Year's has many elements of the Western culture, Christmas. So, which is why, as you will find out soon, New Year's seems very similar to Christmas in a Western culture. This is a picture of Ded Moroz, meaning Grandfather Frost, and Snegurочка, which means the Snow Maiden. Ded Moroz is a figure of New Year's instead of Christmas, even though he looks very similar to the Western Santa Claus. This was a result of integrating Christmas into New Year's. Ded Moroz brings Russian children presents for New Year's instead of Christmas, which is the variation from the Western Christmas culture. And also, instead of being married to Mrs. Claus, or I presume Mrs. Moroz, Grandfather Frost has the Snow Maiden, his daughter, who helps him distribute the gifts to children throughout Russia. Russians also like to decorate a Christmas tree for New Year's, except it's not called a Christmas tree, it's called a yolka. And under the yolka, Ded Moroz places the presents for the children. This is very similar to the Christmas tree in the Western culture, but is not always decorated with ornaments, because when the idea of a Christmas tree was introduced in Russia by Peter the Great, ornaments were very expensive, and some people made their own ornaments, or at times they used dry fruit or dried vegetables to decorate the tree. There's also usually a small Ded Moroz under the Christmas tree, representing to the children that he was there and left the presents for them to open. Also, a lot of Russians usually buy a synthetic Christmas tree or a very small Christmas tree, usually to put somewhere around the house because of economical reasons, so they can either reuse the tree or it doesn't cost them very much. The New Year's period is considered like a vacation for many Russians. Schools are closed from January 1st until January the 13th, and children get to celebrate New Year's with their parents. Before going on New Year's break, many schools, usually the 1st to the 3rd graders, have New Year's celebrations at their schools where Ded Moroz, or as a Western culture would say, Santa Claus, comes to their school and hands them out presents. Children usually come to school dressed up in festive outfits or costumes, as seen in the picture above. Also, schools usually have some kind of performance centering around New Year's and Ded Moroz. When I attended the third grade before moving to the United States, I participated in such a performance, but it didn't center around New Year's. It actually was a reenactment of Pinocchio, and I played Pinocchio. This picture was taken in Moscow at the Red Square, and it shows that New Year's is a really big holiday in Russia, and people love to celebrate it. There are all kinds of festivities going on New Year's days, and it's usually a time when people like to spend time with their family and friends, playing games, watching fireworks during nighttime, possibly at the Red Square or wherever else they are, possibly in St. Petersburg. And it is also a very big day for eating food. Russians love to cook a huge meal and then share it with their family and friends, and spend the night eating and bringing in the New Year's. As I mentioned earlier, a big part of the New Year's celebration for Russians is the food they get to eat and share with their friends and family. New Year's night is usually started with a large feast where Russians cook all kinds of traditional dishes to celebrate the New Year's. Some of these traditional dishes can be seen in the picture above. In the red dish is a dish called perimeni, which is a sort of dumpling. In the Western culture, they resemble ravioli. At the bottom right-hand corner is another dish called shuba, which literally translates into fur coat. The salad gets its name from the coat of mayonnaise and beetroots covering the eggs, potatoes, carrots, onions, and herring. There are also usually a lot of finger foods that can be found on the table, ranging from vegetables to various types of meats. And people usually eat and drink for most of the night to bring in their New Year's. This picture shows people ice skating in St. Petersburg, showing the general atmosphere of relaxation and enjoyment during the New Year's period in Russia. Since Russia tends to get a lot of snow, people enjoy all kinds of winter activities. People enjoy going to the countryside to sled and ski and enjoy some time with their children. Because of the fierce winters, Russia is usually covered with a white blanket of snow during the winter, as seen in the above picture, making it a beautiful sight for people to enjoy and walk around in. When I lived in St. Petersburg, my parents would always take me to walk around the city to enjoy the Russian architecture covered in a white blanket of snow. My parents would also take me to the countryside to enjoy sledding and allow me to learn how to ski. This is an example of a Russian New Year's card that people give to their friends or family to wish them Happy New Year's and happiness in the year to come with other wishful wishes. This card might also include a date for that friend to come and join the friend's family in a dinner and celebrations. The writing on the card says "S Novым 2010 Годом," which basically translates into Happy 2010 New Year. And the picture shows a Ded Moroz, or Santa Claus, showing to the child the time, which is at striking 12 o'clock, representing the coming of the new year, along with the yolka in the background, basically showing the, as I mentioned earlier, the New Year's spirit. A fascinating tradition during the New Year's is the tradition of fortune telling. Many people, including men, but especially women and unmarried girls, are excited to know about their future, to see what kind of possible fortunes they will have in the year to come. Another very exciting tradition for the Russian people is the New Year's speech from the president on New Year's Day. The president delivers a speech wishing the Russian citizens a Happy New Year's and providing them words of wisdom. This is a picture of my brother, my father, my sister, and me. When we used to live in Russia, my family would always get together with our friends and family to celebrate the New Year's. We would always have a large feast and go out to the city to watch the fireworks show. Now that we live in the United States, we still follow some of the traditions. We still have the family get together, and we invite our new friends that we have to celebrate in the festivities and enjoy some of the food that we cook. And then we watch the ball drop, and sometimes we go out to see the fireworks in downtown. This concludes my presentation on the Russian New Year's. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a thing or two that you'll remember about the Russian New Year's. And this picture says, "S Novым Годом." You should repeat it with me, hopefully. I'll say it again, "S Novым Годом," which means with a Happy New Year's or Happy New Year's. And I hope that if sometime in the future when you're studying abroad, or maybe you go to Russia, that you'll get to celebrate the Russian New Year's yourself. Thank you.